You have to hear what Britt Baker just said about Mercedes Mone, and in this video I'm going to tell you exactly what she had to say, because Britt Baker and Mercedes Mone, they got a little bit of history, as you might know. And it's actually quite ironic that they clashed earlier this year, because Britt Baker, she was a top star for AEW, really since 2019 when the promotion launched. On the flip side, Mercedes Mone, aka Sasha Banks, she was doing big business in WWE during that time period. Throughout, up until 2024, well, Britt Baker, she was on top of the card for the most part, and Mercedes Mone, she was changing the game. In WWE, putting the women's tag team titles back on notice, and then obviously departing. Then going to New Japan and ultimately signing earlier this year in AEW, reportedly making her the highest paid star of all female wrestlers. Pretty impressive. I'll clap for that. Britt Baker, on the other hand, yes, she was a top star for AEW for multiple years, really making a notable name for herself in the pro wrestling industry and putting the women's division on her back. And then they just stopped using her for multiple months in 2023 before she had some health issues and was pulled from television. Really sucks if you think about it. But then we got the big clash, right? We got Mercedes Mone, we got Britt Baker. Oh, they came together. They had the ultimate stare down when Britt Baker returned from a multiple-month hiatus at Forbidden Door. And then we finally got the showdown at All In. It was very good. It was very good. The match was a little lackluster. The build, top notch. And that's what you get with Mercedes Mone. AEW, Tony Khan, they pay her the big bucks because they see her as a big star. Well, when you have a big star, what do? You support her with the right amount of cast. A right amount of cast with right amount of star power who can work, well, that's Britt Baker. She's one of the best in the game, and honestly, extremely underrated and underused by Tony Khan, something which I hope is going to be changing. Now, depending on when you hear this video, Britt Baker, she had been on a hiatus coming out of All In, and she is making, or was making, her in-ring return on the 5-year anniversary of Dynamite. Now, keep in mind that Mercedes Mone became a double champion at Forbidden Door, and then they had the post-match showdown. Now, while Baker was speaking with Fightful Sean Ross Sapp, she stated that it was surreal for her to work with Mercedes Mone, and she's grateful to have had the opportunity to wrestle Mone at All In. And this is exactly what she had to say and why it's so important. I really like the promo that Mercedes and I had. The contract signing. Where was that? Wales, Cardiff? Yeah. I really liked that. First of all, the crowd, insane. Nuclear. We got to kick off the show. But also, there's a truth to it. When I say Mercedes is one of the most inspirational and reason why I wrestle today, I mean that. I'm such a fan of... It was surreal to get to work with her on such a huge platform. It's still surreal to me, and I'm super grateful that she also gave me the opportunity that was like, hey, Britt Baker, I'm going to work with her. If you have told me back in 2015 when I first started wrestling, I would have been like, Mercedes knows who I am? What? It's so crazy. It's just evolution. That's just one of my favorite promos because I got to say a lot of my truth to Mercedes' face. You walk, so many girls like me could run. You feel that. You know when a wrestler means what they're saying. And you know there's a passion that comes from that place too. And sometimes we're so good on promos that we can bamboozle you all into thinking that there's something mean and nasty crap is real to it. And that I love so much. So I love all my heel promos just as much as the baby, more than the baby faces ones. So that's deep if you think about it, right? So many layers, so many different ways to go. Let's break it down. First of all, the promo, the segment. I remember what she's talking about. That fan base, that crowd that night in that arena was amazing. Props to you if you were there, right? Overseas crowds, UK, Europe, that part of the world, they love wrestling so much. They show up so often and give in and give out. And it's so good. The fact that she brought up real life, right? that's legit. That's a quote-unquote shoot, because Mercedes Mone was a huge inspiration to Britt Baker. She was such an inspiration to other talents. I mean, I think people don't understand how long Mercedes has been wrestling and how long she's been around this game, because she's still so young, right? But she was part of the women's revolution, evolution, and obviously is on top in the golden era of women's wrestling and the women's division right now. Her and Bayley and Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch, they were key parts of that. Saraya, a.k.a. Paige, Emma, Natalya, Serena Deeb, all these talents, they were such inspiration to other talents, got people in the business that maybe wouldn't have done so in previous years. That's what Mercedes Mone has done. Now with Britt Baker, let's just hope that they can do something more important with her other than, well, we'll use you when we need you kind of thing. It's like, no, you need to understand the type of talent that you have in a Britt Baker. This woman hits every list that you can check off. So let's make our own list, right? We have it factor, charisma, in-ring working ability, promos, she acts the part, she talks the part, she looks the part, everything. What else does this woman need to do to get over in the eyes of Tony Khan? Because she was once over in the eyes of Tony Khan. He booked her as a top star, a dominant champion. Is it the fact that he does not view her as the same level as a babyface than she was as a heel? Is that the problem? Because if that's the problem, hey, Tony, guess what, buddy? You're the booker. You can do something about that, right? Because she's been babyface for a while. Why did she get into a babyface? If she was such a great heel, if she was such a long dominant champion as a heel, why are we a babyface? Well, she naturally got over as a babyface. She's very likable, right? I mean, she's a freaking dentist, for God's sake. So, like, she's personable. She's a people person. And she's in pro wrestling, so she can live it up a little bit. But if Tony Khan thinks that she's better as a heel, then, buddy, you can book something in which will turn her heel and will get her heel heat. And then you're off to the races then. You don't have a top star and just keep them on the sidelines for no reason, right? Now, and I get some people say, well, you gotta keep her special. Yeah, you do, but you need to keep her on television so you can use her star power to therefore boost your ratings and your company. Just saying. Thank you guys so much for watching this video from WrestleSTAR. If you enjoyed that, consider hitting the subscribe button, hit that bell notification so you are notified every single time we upload new wrestling content here to the channel. If you would, like button, that helps us tremendously. I'd love to hear what you had to say about today's video. Leave a comment down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, helping change my and family's life, and I will see each and every one of you in the next video. Take care, y'all.